listening to the Dr. Joe Show here with Professor Richard Wolff. Dr. Joe, we really struck it lucky. Speaking of striking, Professor, why does no one want to work anymore? You see these UAW strikers, and I see the CEO of Stellantis going on CNN saying the workers are demanding $500 million each per person with 6 months vacation. Basically, everyone will go bankrupt within a week if their demands are met.
Yeah. He's a little confused. I'm trying to be as polite as I know how to be. He's a little confused. No worker gets millions of dollars. The only people in the automobile business who get millions of dollars are people like the CEO of Stellantis. In case you're wondering, I know how much he earns. $21 million last year. Mary Barra, the CEO of General Motors, earns $29 million. And here's two things to keep in mind when you think about the strikes at the auto companies and the many other places where strikes are exploding across the United States. I'm a economist. I do these kinds of calculations. So I asked myself, what does it work out to if you get $29 million in a year? Well, I divided it by 52, the number of weeks in a year. And if you do the arithmetic, that means Mary Barra earns, if that's the right word, could be takes, could be, I don't know, steals, who knows? But it works out to $550,000 per week.
So
let me do that again. That's her salary. And if you know how a strike works, the workers who are out with the picket signs that you see on TV, when they go on strike, they're not paid. Every day of that strike is money they expected to come into the household to pay for the food and the children's education and the mortgage that's due and all the rest. However, the executives sitting across the table from the union leaders, they do not suffer one nickel of reduction. Their pay is not affected by the strike. This is extraordinary. The only thing more extraordinary than that is for the chair or the CEO of Stellantis to find the workers overpaid and threatening the company rather than him and her and the people at the other end of it. Look, we live in a country, and pardon me wearing my economist hat, we live in a country that for the last 40 years, just shy of half a century, have experienced a radical redistribution of wealth and income from the bottom and the middle to the tippity top. If you look at the personal wealth of Elon Musk or Jeffrey Bezos or Warren Buffett or Bill Gates, names that have become household names, they are all presiding over tens and in some cases hundreds of billions of dollars. You know what that means? If you get a 4% rate of return and you have $100 billion, it means you're making $4 billion a year. You're not making $550,000 a week like Mary Barr. You're making $550,000 every hour, whether you go into the job or not.
Of course, the counter there, it's not actual liquid money, so it doesn't count.
Yeah, if you don't want it to count, you can come up with that. But Mr. Bezos can decide that he wants to, I don't know, send a rocket to the moon just to see what's there, and his money pays for it. And Elon Musk is busily indulging his interest in making more money still by having all kinds of projects. You can hardly keep up with the fellow. No, I mean, this is a decision a society makes. Do you want to have people that are homeless in all of our major cities? The answer has to be yes, because we have them. We had them now, we had them last year, we had them 10 years ago. At the same time, in case you're interested, there are approximately 5 to 8, no one knows exactly, but 5 to 8 million apartments and homes that are empty. Nobody is in them. And we live in a country that has millions of homeless people who want a place to be, millions of empty homes nobody is using, but we live in a economic system that can't put these two things or their equivalent together. Which any half rational person would understand that it is better to give a family the stability of having their own home. Here in New York City, where I live, we have this following statistic: 10% of the public school children in our system here in New York City, all 5 boroughs, 10% of them have been homeless for some part of the last academic year. Being homeless, sent from one shelter to another, is not a way to facilitate learning. They have no room of their own to go to. They have no place to plug in a computer, which is all right since they can't afford one anyway. Meanwhile, there's somebody trying to figure out what cute thing he could do with an extra billion lying around somewhere in his sock drawer. I mean, it is going to be very hard someday when the reckoning about all of this is made and publicly. It's very hard for people like my father then to explain to their children then how all this was allowed to develop and to persist for as long as it has.
Stretch the canvas, rush with madness, is it sadness or just a show?